Despite what your hairdresser and people that don't know what the heck they're talking about will tell you, qualifying for a mortgage is not as difficult as you might think. So don't listen to people that may mean well but have no idea what they're talking about. Don't rule yourself out. You can get a mortgage even if you've had credit issues, you don't hold a UK passport, things like that. You can get a mortgage, and I'm going to tell you how. So yeah, as I said, you can get a mortgage. Don't listen to your hairdresser. Don't listen to people who want to give you advice and they're not qualified professionals. Getting a mortgage is not as complex as you think. I'm going to talk you through it. I'm going to tell you the three main reasons why people don't think they can get a mortgage, but actually can. My name is Anthony Lindsay, and I've been in finance for over 30 years. So what that means is when you speak to me, you're getting information from someone that not only has a license perspective on things, it is going to tell you things that are within the guidelines and procedures that are put in place by the FCA. I'm also someone who has life experience. So you should listen when I tell you you can get a mortgage. The main reason why most people think that they can't get a mortgage is potentially because of their credit. So they think they have bad credit, therefore they cannot get a mortgage. But that's why specialist lenders exist. Specialist lenders are lenders who will lend to people who have had missed payments, late payments, CCJs. I've even got specialist lenders that I work with that will work with someone who's had a repossession, meaning they've had a house in the past, that house got repossessed. So don't rule yourself out if you think that because of your credit status, you're unable to get a mortgage. And what will happen in a lot of instances is people will talk to friends and family members who maybe have gone directly to their bank, and because they had credit issues, they got declined. So what they do is they spread a lot of bad or misinformation to other people saying if you've had late payments, missed payments, etc., you're unable to get a mortgage. It's a lie. Specialist lenders can assist you. So when you speak to your mortgage broker, just explain the situation that you're in, and they'll be able to match you with the right lender. So another reason why a lot of people don't think that they can get a mortgage is because they have a small deposit. So they don't have enough, they don't have the 10% or 15% that people always talk about. Do not listen to that. Always speak to a mortgage broker. There are specialist lenders that not only can help you if you have credit issues, but there's also main street lenders that will lend if you have a smaller deposit. And there are some schemes that can assist you with your deposit size. There are equity schemes where you can get an equity loan. There are also equity transfer options. So, like if you have a friend or a family member that is selling a property and they want to gift you some of that equity, they can gift you that equity towards your deposit. So don't let the fact that you think you have a small deposit prevent you from speaking to a mortgage broker. And don't forget about things like right to buy. So if you're living in a council property and you meet the criteria, you can apply to purchase that council property. And you can use the discount that you're offered towards the deposit. I regularly do mortgages for people that are doing a council right to buy who use the full discount as their deposit. So the out of pocket expense is a lot lower because the equity that the council is gifting you or the discount they're giving you is used as the deposit. There's also shared ownership. Now, shared ownership is one of those things that it some people love it and some people absolutely hate it. You do need to do your due diligence. You do need to do your research and make sure that you read everything thoroughly. But I know people that have used a shared ownership scheme to get themselves on the property ladder. Then they do something called staircasing. So they'll buy a small percentage of the property initially, what they can afford, what they can get a mortgage for. And in the passing of time, they'll staircase up. So what that means is that they'll purchase more of the percentage of the property often until they get all the way up to 100%. So they do it in smaller chunks. So look into things like shared ownership. If you're living in a council property, you can look at the right to buy process. Last thing, and this is a big thing for people that are in the UK but may not have UK passports. The other reason why people tend to rule themselves out of getting a mortgage, or they've told themselves that they can't get a mortgage, is because they have a non UK passport. So they might be here on a skilled worker visa, or potentially they're expats. So these are people that do have UK passports but are living abroad. You can get a mortgage. Frequently, the reason why people think they can't get a mortgage is because they've been told that by people who don't know what they're talking about. So, the best advice that I can give you is always speak to a qualified mortgage broker. I'm not here to replace that conversation. I'm here to give you hope and let you know that if people have been telling you you can't get a mortgage, they're probably wrong. Now, the issue quite frequently isn't the fact that people can't get a mortgage. It's just that some people may not be able to get the mortgage for the amount that they want because they feel they have to buy above their budget. So, what do you need to do? I'll talk you through three things to do before you rule yourself out of getting a mortgage. So, thing number one, speak to a broker. A broker will be able to talk you through the criteria, look at where you are, as well as explain how to get to where you want to be. Check your credit report. So I do find that people do sometimes overestimate or underestimate their credit profile. I have people that come to me, and when they start working with me, one of the first things that we do request from them is their credit report from checkmyfile.com. And when they get their credit report, they're like, wow, I thought my credit was a lot worse than that. Equally, some people come to me and say, wow, I thought my credit was a lot better than that. So always check your credit report, look through it, make sure that the searches on there are things that you've authorized. If you have any CCJs, if you have any defaults, anything like that, especially if there's small amounts, pay them off. But check your credit report at least once a year. I'd recommend twice a year. Be flexible. Often people have ruled themselves out from getting a mortgage because they're just being inflexible. So if you're living in London and you're a first time buyer, maybe you don't have the income or don't have the deposit for a home in zone one or two, or maybe even three. You can look at different zones. You can look at schemes like shared ownership. So be flexible because more likely than not, if you're in your late 20s, early 30s, more likely than not, this is not your forever home. So you may need to do what your parents, your grandparents, and other people have done in the past. Buy a home that you can afford, that is within your budget, live there, let the equity build up, pay your mortgage on time, and then you can trade up. Your first home may not be your forever home. So that means you might just need to be a little bit flexible. It's very rare that I speak to someone and I cannot get them a mortgage. It's very rare. Usually, if there is an issue, the issue is that the amount that they can get does not match their expectations. So you may need to adjust your expectations. I'm not the person, or no one can tell you where you should live. You have to decide that. But sometimes by being a little bit more flexible, thinking outside the box, understanding things like shared ownership and concessionary mortgages and right to buy, those things can open up other options that you may not have considered. So don't rule yourself out if you've told yourself that you can't get a mortgage. Instead, you need to speak to a mortgage broker. What do you do now? So you've heard this video, you've heard the information, and you've been telling yourself that you can't get a mortgage, and now maybe you think you can. So what you're going to need to do now is just book an appointment with me. What I'll do is a free affordability assessment. It's not a credit check and it's not an application. It's just a conversation where hopefully I can demystify the process of getting a mortgage. I can talk you through where you are and how to get to where you want to be, and give you a realistic view of how much you qualify for right now. So I can give you a realistic view of how much you qualify for right now. It may be below your expectations, it may meet your expectations, possibly it will exceed your expectations. But instead of guessing, listening to your barber or your hairdresser, you're getting the information from someone who now understands your circumstances and your goals. So speak to a mortgage broker. Ideally, you'll speak to me, but maybe you'll speak to someone else. This information that I've shared is not to replace speaking to a professional. It's not financial advice, it's not legal advice, and it's not tax advice. It's just information on the questions that I get asked all the time and the answers that I share with my clients. I'll also, when I meet with you, explain to you how mortgages work. I'll talk you through the process. Process is really easy. You'll speak to a mortgage broker. The mortgage broker will do an affordability assessment. They'll then be able to do an agreement in principle for you. So that's an agreement in principle. Sometimes it's called a mortgage in principle. Sometimes it's called a decision in principle. That is a cursory way of telling you how much you qualify for, how much a bank would lend you. Once you have that, you can go do your property search. It takes way longer than you think. So the property search process can take months. You'll find a property you like, you'll make an offer, the offer will be accepted at some point. You'll then be able to do a full mortgage application. The lender will do a valuation, not a survey, a valuation. The lender will do a valuation and assess how much they think the property is worth. Once they've done the underwriting, the valuation is in, they are then able to do a full mortgage offer for you. And that's what you need. That's going to get you to the stage where your solicitor and the seller's solicitors are speaking, that you can get the keys to your new home, because that's what you want. You want keys to your very own home. You may have been telling yourself that that's impossible because you're listening to people who don't know what they're talking about. Always speak to a mortgage broker, and hopefully you found this information useful. If you have found this information useful, please, please, please share it with friends and family. Anyone you know that has been telling themselves that they can't get a mortgage, please share this video. Make sure you like, make sure you share, make sure you subscribe. As a really small channel, your subscription means a lot to me because it tells the YouTube algorithm that someone is listening and they find the information valuable and therefore want to get more. My name's Anthony Lindsay, and I've been in finance for over 30 years. I make these videos to answer your questions and share information with